Hey there, this is Neil Napier here. Just give me a very quick yes if you can hear me all right, and another yes to let me know that you can see the screen as well. So the screen should be the dashboard of InstaSuite. All right. So we're getting a few yeses. Annette, RD Mystery, Bandel, Dave, Dave again. Hey Annette. All right. So we have a lot more people joining in, but it's okay. I want to keep this session concise. As we did last time, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a walkthrough of Funnel Builder within InstaSuite. So we're going to focus on one module only, and for the next 30 to 45 minutes, I won't answer any questions. I won't stop. I'll just focus on giving you a walkthrough of what the Funnel Builder of InstaSuite contains. If you have any questions, it's just you and me today. Alvin's not here, neither is Stephen. They couldn't be. But if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat box and I'll answer them at the end of this session. Don't worry, I'll leave a lot of time for Q&A. So if there's any question you have, just go ahead and write it down and I'll answer it as soon as I can. Now, with that being said, let's go into the funnel builder within InstaSuite. There are quite a few different things I want to show you here, but the best part about Funnel Builder is that it is perhaps one of the easiest parts of InstaSuite, partly also because you already know about funnels. You already know how to use different kind of landing page solutions. So this one will be relatively easy if you haven't yet used it. And like I said, if I miss anything, I'll cover that at the end. So let's start by adding a new funnel. Within your accounts, you have some limitations. We don't have the numbers here, but we're going to put them in soon. But within your account, you have limitations as to how many funnels you can have. There are no limitations as to how much traffic you can receive or how many landing pages you can have within those funnels. So as of now, that's kind of open. But let's go in and start adding a new funnel. When you click on add new funnel, you have 4 options. You can add an opt-in funnel, you can add a sales funnel, a product launch funnel, or a webinar funnel. Now this is just to make your life simple. If you're doing a sales funnel and then later decide you want to do an opt-in page as well, no problem, you can do that too. But this contains some presets which exist to make your life easier. So let's go ahead and pick the opt-in funnel in this case. Click on next, and I'll say I want to have 1 upsell in this case and no downsells. By upsell, I mean when someone signs up, then I want to pitch them something else, or I want to have a thank you page where I offer them another product of mine as well. So you could have that, plus then obviously at the end you'll have a thank you page as well. This button for adding in an opt-in confirmation page, honestly, it's not necessary. And to be honest, I don't even know why they have it in place, but I think some people wanted it to begin with so that they could actually show a confirmation message before sending people somewhere else. But to me, you can do that on the upsell page anyway. So let's go ahead. I'm going to call this one, let's build a funnel for a restaurant. Let's call this restaurant offers. Now, here's something I want to tell you. This is something I'm discussing with Stephen at the moment. At the moment, when you start creating landing pages, there are unique templates for every landing page, but there are no set templates for a funnel. So that's something I'm talking to Stephen about. In future, a few months down the line, we can have actual funnel templates as well, and that's good because the entire funnel design would then be consistent. So anyway, let's go ahead and build a funnel. So as you saw, we had 1 landing page, 1 upsell page, and then obviously a thank you page as well. Everything is set to 0 at the moment. There's nothing to it. We haven't started working on it. What you can do is you can then choose a front page. When you do that, you get this designer layout. Now at present, this is really only for aesthetics. This is really only for you to see how things connect. It doesn't have any implications on how the landing pages behave. But in future, that might change. Once you're happy with it, click Save Flowchart, and you're done. Then you can choose to edit one of these pages. But to edit the pages first, you have to choose a template. Now, before I go and show you that, don't worry about this too much. Honestly, this is not something you'll need. Well, this is something you will not need most of the time. The no thanks URL. Because typically, when you only really have an opt-in page, you don't need a thank you page in that case. So I wouldn't worry too much about this one. Again, one of those things that if I could go back and take out, I would, because to me, this doesn't really add enough value to the platform. Then let's go in and pick a template for the squeeze page. A lot of templates are already ready-made. So if you choose the squeeze page option, you can see through this a lot of templates have already been pre-created. This one's actually our own. So you obviously won't see that. But a lot of these templates have been done beforehand, and you can come in and edit one of these and start working with that right away. So I'm going to go for, actually in this case, let's go for this one. I'll choose this. If I want to, I can also hit preview here, and I can preview and see what this template actually looks like. So if I click here, again, my internet's slow, but if I click here, you'll see that this is what the template actually looks like. And the best part about InstaSuite is that you can customize this as much as you want. So this is our template, and if I want to change something, I can do that. If I want to put my logo here, I can do that. If I want to change this text, I can do that as well. Let me change that. There we go. I can change this text as well, and of course I can hyperlink these so that people can read the terms and conditions and privacy policy when they land on this page. I can also add more elements to it. Let me give you a walkthrough of the elements. When you click on the plus button, a lot of these elements show up. One of them is a block element. So a block is if you wish to basically extend the page vertically. So if I drag and drop this here, you can see this is just a regular size block, just this much. And if I choose to add a white block, this is white, so it takes over the entire screen. And again, it's up to you how you want to do it. I usually prefer the white block because I think it's quite customizable. Let's close these. Okay, then if I want to add some pre-made blocks, I can do that as well. And again, this is to simplify your life. This is to make sure that you have some pre-made blocks that you can work with. It might not always be relevant though, might not always be useful, but if you don't want to start from scratch, you can work with this. Then you have the ability to add columns. For example, let's say if I had this text over here, but really I only want it to be in half space. I can drop this column section here, so now I have 2 columns, and this can go here. So you can see now the text size is reduced rather. I can do this and I can restructure how the text shows up. There you go. This is the cool part as well, by the way. You can drag and change these things like this sometimes, which makes it easy for you to resize boxes. If I want to move the text here, I can move that here as well. But really, I'll put this back here because there's no need for having it on the right. Once you're done with it, let's just publish because I want to show you changes in real time as well. So I'll publish and I'll open the page. Oh, no, there. Okay, so this is what the page looks like. Remember, we left justified it, so now the text is a little bit smaller here, as you can see. Then I can also add text elements if I want to. I can add large headings, medium headings, small headings, and also other elements here. I can also add text with images. So let me drag and drop this right over here. So in this case, there's a space for an image, and there's space for headline and some other text as well. So this is basically a pre-formatted combination of most of the things that you see here. But I don't want it, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Then we also have a box option. So sometimes, like this one, it's nice to show things inside a box, in which case you can choose to add one of these boxes. So I can just drag and drop this here. I can change the color of this box. I can change the width. I can change a lot of different things. I can change the borders as well. There you go. The borders become thicker. Okay, so it's entirely up to you how you want to customize the page. And then when you have this box, you can add more text into it, you can add images into it, and do whatever else you want to do for those boxes as well. Then you've got the image option. Typically, what you do for the images is you drag and drop a placeholder, and then if you wish to replace that with another image, you simply put in the image URL, or you browse and upload that, which goes into the InstaSuite Media Gallery, which is only for your account. So you have all the previous images here as well if you wish to reuse it in future. Then we also have the ability to add video. So you can add YouTube and Vimeo video, but really if you want to add some other video, for example, a video from Amazon S3, you can do that as well. Simply click on video settings. In the drop down, you get YouTube, Vimeo, and embed. Choose the embed option, and you can put in an HTML code of a video on an external site, or even on your own server. Though really, I would always recommend using something like YouTube or Vimeo. But if you choose to, you can do this as well. Let's close this. Then you've got the option to put in buttons. So just drag and drop any of these buttons right over here or anywhere else you want. You can customize the color, you can customize the text, you can customize the borders, you can do a lot of different things. Again, it is fully customizable. One thing we do have to get fixed, I would say, is when you hover over, you can see the color changes to black. We don't really want that. We want the color to stay orange in this case. So that's something we need to get looked at the moment, but really not a big issue. It shouldn't stop you from creating your own landing pages. Then you have also the ability to add forms. Now, forms is something you use when you're trying to build a list or when you're trying to collect customer data. So you can drag and drop this form, which looks like this, which will help you collect your customer's name and email address. But you can also start with a blank form. So say if you wanted to collect more than just their name and email address, you could put the blank form placeholder in there. Then you can put, let's say in this case, the email field. There we go. You can also put in phone number field if you wanted to collect that. You can also put in address field, and then you also have custom text and custom paragraph field. So if I go here, you can basically ask people a specific question. So you can say, in this case, let's say, what questions do you have for us? Or when they're opting in, they can ask you a question as well, which is good because then you can collect that data and use in the future. Now, the key thing to remember here, and something that a lot of people used to get wrong, is you have to combine the form with a button, right? So let me just drag and drop this button in here and I'll explain that. So this is a form which sits by itself. It can sit by itself, but people need to be able to submit it so that you can collect that data. Now, when you've got this form, you can configure it by clicking on form settings. You click on form settings, you've got various different things here. I won't go into depth into each one because for a lot of these you can just experiment and figure out as you go along. But the important thing here is in the general section, the integration for step number 1. So you want this to integrate with something. That could be an autoresponder, in which case you subscribe them to an email list. It could be a webinar, so in which case you get them added to a webinar as well. It could be to a webinar and subscription to a list, easy one. And then it could also be custom integration, which if you have a self-hosted autoresponder, we probably don't cater for it, in which case you can create a form in that self-hosted autoresponder and you can put that form code here and parse it so that we can collect those details and send it to you. Now let me show you each and every one in this case. Subscription to an email list. You have a few options. ActiveCampaign, Aweber, Constant Contact, ConvertKit, GetResponse, Infusionsoft, MailChimp, Market Hero, and SendLane. Now, personally, I would encourage you to use InstaSuite's own inbuilt autoresponder for the simple reason that will also help you reduce your cost over the long term. And then you'll have everything under one roof, which is much easier to manage. So as much as possible, as much as you can, use InstaSuite's own email autoresponder. We'll cover the autoresponder part in another session in another couple of weeks, but as of now, focus on using whatever autoresponder you're comfortable with. Then when you choose this, then you can select one of the lists that you have created. And when someone signs up, you can send them to a thank you page, which remember in this case would be like an upsell page. Then you also have other autoresponders. So for example, I've hooked up my GetResponse, so I see all these different lists. I can choose one of these different lists, and then when someone signs up, I can send them to a thank you page as well. Right, now this is just the form part, this is just the integration part. Then comes the part where action needs to happen. So when someone puts all the details in, they will hit the button. But what happens when the button's hit? Well, you can configure that by going to button settings and clicking on action. So in this case, we are saying we want to submit this form. Now, I don't quite remember what this form is. So let's go ahead and figure this out. It's this form, MH3EIW. if I see this action, there are a couple of different forms, but this is the form that we want. So when someone fills this in and they hit the button, then these form details will be sent to us in the backend. So it's very important to connect the two together. Very crucial. Now, there's another cool trick that you can do with this, by the way. If I go into block, and just to show you something, I'll add one of these blocks here at the bottom. There we go. People say, hey, what if we want, when someone clicks this button, I want them to go to this block. Well, you can do that too. When you're configuring it, instead of submitting a form, click on redirect to URL, and this is where you need to put in the box ID. So if I go here, let's click on block settings. This is the block ID. So if I just, for now, just play with this a bit. There we go, redirect to this block. Save. And let's refresh this here as well. So now remember, when someone clicks on it, the form is not going to get submitted because that's not how we've configured it. When someone clicks on it, they get taken to this block. So it's an easy way for you to, when you're doing payment buttons, for example, to move people around. Case in point, if I go to, let me just jump on here, InstaSuite, sales page. There we go. So this box has the same configuration. And when I click on it, you can see it scrolls down to the plans. This one's hyperlinked already, so it doesn't go anywhere. But when I click on it, it scrolls down to the plans. So that's something you can do as well with your pages. Let's move forward. Then you've got the counter option. Now, the counter is typically for countdown timers, and it's useful when you are selling something based on urgency. When you're using urgency in your marketing offers, you can use the countdown timers. So again, drag and drop this in here, and you can choose the 3 different options. You can count down until the day. So let's say if you want to count down till when the offer will open, which is tomorrow 5 p.m., you can count down till then. You can have a real scarcity countdown timer, in which case, when the event finishes, you can redirect people to another page. Hey, we're so sorry, the price is closed, you can't access it anymore. It's a really, truly great way to train your audience to pay attention to your offers when you push them live. Then you've got the fake scarcity countdown. I wouldn't personally recommend this, but it's good when you're running ads, when you've got new leads coming in every few minutes. Then you can basically just give them a fake countdown like, hey, we've got a special offer going, it expires in 10 minutes. But when that countdown timer does expire, you can then redirect them to another page, maybe where the price is higher. Nothing wrong with that. So just do all these things. Remember, they work on basis of cookies. So if someone clears their cookies and they land on this page again, they're not going to see that offer anymore. So just bear that in mind. All right? Great. I hope that's clear. Then there are some other counter options as well. I wouldn't worry too much about them yet. They're good if you're doing some kind of service and you want to show that you've helped generate $45,000 for your clients, for example. You can put this in, you can drag and drop this in, and when someone lands and they come across it, it's going to count up or down from whatever number you want to this number. Then you've got the social bar here as well. So if you want on your landing pages, you can just put this here and then hook it up. So for Facebook, you can connect it to your fan page, your Twitter feed, your Google Plus account, and Instagram as well. That way when people click on it, they'll be able to essentially follow you or see your social media profiles. And you can add some more if you choose to. That's fine as well. There's some ready-made icons. You can always get your own and configure them just like configuring a button. Nothing wrong with that. You also then have the comment section. This is something I covered on a Feature Friday video, but you can add Facebook comments and discuss comments to your landing pages. Personally, I would only use Facebook, and that's when you're trying to build proof, when you're trying to sell something. So use that. And then you finally got the miscellaneous option, which is a little bit more technical. You can have alert messages, which again, I don't know why anyone would use it because they're kind of old looking. You can have tab options. So let me show you this. If I put this in, you can basically have these different tabs. Let me just see if I can change the color. There you go. Cool. So you can change all of this simply by clicking on the settings button and editing a few things here and there. Name them whatever you want. So it's good if you want to show multiple content. For example, if I was showing InstaSuite, I would like to show that this is funnel part and this is membership. Maybe it's too much content. Then we've got the emails. And I don't want this fourth one, so I'll close this. Okay, done. And when then people click on this, they'll be able to see a specific content. So let's just change it to this is about funnels, and I'll change the color, don't worry. I'll just change this here. Okay, I gotta get this looked at. So you can do that, and people can go around and they can see what's under each of them. Okay, then you also got the line option, so you can put a line under or over things. There you go, and you can change that as well. Then you also have options for space and HTML. Space is again if you want to give vertical or horizontal space. In this case, it's vertical. There we go. And then HTML option, which is really, really useful, by the way, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. Okay, so for this one, HTML, it's good if you are a little bit advanced because you can do a lot of cool things with it. It might not be for everyone though. For example, if you just want to put in a video, you can do that. If you want to put in a GIF, you can do that. If you want to embed a whole website, you can iframe it as well. So there's a lot of things you can do with this. I remember one of the pages that we built, what we did, we wanted people to register for a webinar. And sometimes, the webinar registrations don't go through because of API and whatnot. So on the thank you page itself, we embedded the webinar sign up page, which allowed people to just sign up from our page without going to go to webinar. So that really helped us keep our customers in one place as well. So iframing works really well for that. So these are all different little tricks, little things that you can do with these funnel elements. Now there are a few more things, important ones that I want to show you before I go any further. The first thing here is split testing. It's a little bit advanced, but what it means is that if you want to test out, let's say, a couple of pages, 4 pages, and see which one leads to more sales, which one leads to more opt-ins, you can do that. Simply create a new version and you can go and edit that new version. Let me show you that right now. So I'll say let's duplicate the current version, or I could start from a new template with a new template from scratch, but I think duplicating this version is pretty good. And as the page refreshes, you'll see that this now is version B. So maybe in this one, I'll remove this entire form. And let's say this. So this is now version B. I can also change URL. So the URL for this is 7706 squeeze page. I don't want this. I could call it verb because this is the page that I want to show. Then you have the option to either undo or redo the things that you've done before. So if I undo this, this goes away. Any changes in the pages go away. But if I want to redo this, I can click here and that again goes away. You can also use the layers functionality. So you've got all these different blocks. This is this block, and if I scroll further down, this is this block. So you can move this, you can move things around, you can delete them, different kind of things. So this really allows you to basically see everything in a much, let's say, simpler format there. So if you want to edit something, you can do that from here as well, or you can just do that from here. Then if you want to optimize it for mobile, you can click here and look at the mobile version. So this is what it's going to look like on the mobile version. I'm going to delete this HTML code, and you can see even the tab is looking all right. I'm going to delete this as well. I'm going to delete the line as well. You can see that the video resizes. Now maybe I want this to be center justified, right? I can click here and let's say center justified. And maybe I want this to be center justified as well. So I'll just select all of it and say, okay, let's center justify this. All right, this is fine. Let's go back to how it looks on desktop. And as you can see, this is now center justified as well. And this is still center justified, even though it shows up on the left in this case. So it's up to you how you want to configure these things, right? You can see the timer isn't showing up very well on mobile. So, you know, if you want to remove this, you can remove this completely, or you can still keep it, but you might have issues. Some elements are just not compatible for mobile. It's as simple as that. There you go. So now that we're back, we can go back to mobile one more time and just see what the rest of it looks like. And again, like I said, if you're not happy with it, just change it. Like I can see this is not center justified. So if I can maybe here, I can change it somehow. I can't. But there might be a way to move this around a little bit. I can increase the width so it's now wider. And now it's center justified. So these are all these different things that you can play with. I mean, there's more than one way to do this, right? Then you can go click on the gear icon and you have a few very, very important options here. The first one is page options. So for page options, it's about this particular page that you're working on. What's the title of the page? Remember, the title is something you see over here. So for example, in this case, if I'm building out a landing page for, let me see, I can't remember what it was for events, right? If I wanted to do that, I could say event landing page, right? Then I could put in some description as well, some keywords as well, and that's good for SEO. It's good if Google tracks this because they'll see, okay, these are the keywords that this page is talking about. If you want to hide from search engine, you can do that as well. Some people like to do that for, let's say, you know, pages with some training or pages where you're delivering some software access. So if you want to hide that, I mean, obviously use membership, but if you still want to hide that, you can do that in this case. You have page width as well, background color, and if you want to hook it up with reply tab, which is something we connect with, you can do that as well. So that's specifically integrated within InstaSuite. Okay. Then you can also put in background images if you choose to. You can put in background videos as well. So even the video plays as someone's on the page. You can choose the fonts being used on the page. So example, if I want to choose this one, I can do that and you can see all the font has changed immediately. I can go for this and all the font has changed again. So that's up to you as well. You can change the text size as well, make the text size bigger or smaller. That again is up to you. Okay, so there are a lot of these different things that you can just play with. And social network image is what kind of image will show when you add this page to social media. So maybe we want a specific image to show that represents our brand. I think this would be quite good. So I'm going to go for this image. Let's save. And we're done. I'm just going to refresh this one more time. You'll see the fonts are different. Everything's a little bit different now. Oh yeah. Page not found, because remember we changed the URL. So let's view the page. So now that we can actually view the end result. There we go. The font's different. Everything's different. These are still there. I thought we removed them. Oh, I guess I hadn't saved. Okay, now let's reload this. One more time. I think we're still on the old page. Interesting. I don't know what's up, but these changes should have shown up. I'll check that out after. But it is easy for you then to essentially save the pages and change the settings here as well, as I showed you. You've then got the option of adding header as well. Not necessary, but you know, some people like to have a header which maybe they can put timer in. So for example, if I do this, I can add a new element. So this is a canvas again, remember. I can add a timer. So let's go into counter. Let me just add here for a second. I gotta get this looked at because you should be able to add some things in the header. For example, you can show a logo if you want. You can have a tagline, you can have menu, different things on the header. Actually, you can't have a timer, although I think that'd be a pretty cool idea. I'll think about it. But you can add a lot of different things to the header to populate it, to make your website stand out more, to make your website seem more like a regular business website than just a landing page. Because I'm just showing you a landing page here. If I show you this, let's see if this page loads up. Yeah, this is a website created within InstaSuite as well. I'll show you this in a couple of minutes. I'll show you on the inside what it looks like. Let's get rid of this. Okay, then here you've also got the option of having conversion tools. So if you want an info bar, you can enable that. And actually this, I think, is where you can add stuff. Yeah, I was confusing that. So this is info bar. So you can add this one so that if anyone wishes to, they can, as soon as they land on the page, they see like a straight deadline. You can do that as well. Let's change the style. Okay. There we go. If I want to add some text as well, I can do that as well, right here. If I want to add columns, I think columns would be quite nicer actually. There we go. But again, it's just too wide at the moment. Don't worry, we'll shrink that in a second. There we go. Okay, so you can configure this, you can change this as you want. When you're done, when you're happy with it, leave this in place. Let's go back to conversion tools. You can have pop-ups as well on the page. You can have exit pop-ups. You can have pop-ups when the page loads after first scroll and all these different things. Again, action message is a little bit technical. I don't think it's necessary, but the page overlay is something you can use as well. So page overlay is like this entire page gets taken over by this one overlay. It's like those, I'm trying to remember the term for it. Someone even did a WordPress plugin to do that, sold for like $49. It's called splash pages. So the whole overlay shows up. So it's up to you how you wish to configure that. I mean, do it as much as you want, but honestly keep it as simple as possible because first you want to do this for a bit and then you see the results coming after. Okay? All right. Then what I want to show you next is the scripts and tracking code. Now, if you want to collect details via Google Analytics or if you want to build a retargeting list, this is the place that you will need to use custom scripts. So you can put in retargeting scripts, you can put different kind of scripts in the body area as well as then the footer area. It's a little bit technical and really you will only need it when you need it. That's the thing to remember. Then you can change the template. So if you're building this and suddenly you don't like it, you want to just, cancel all this work and use another one, you can do that too. You also have the option then to save this page as HTML, just download it, or save it as a template. So maybe you really like this page and you think, okay, next time I can start with this and things would be faster. Well, you can do that in this case as well. When you're happy with everything, save your changes, view, make sure everything is working out. In this case, it's not, and I'll check out why, and then exit out. But the thing I want to show you now is the page that we built for TeamRack. So when you saw this page, let me close some of these. Okay, when you saw this page, it looks like one page, right? So everything is kind of simple. If I click on here, another page opens up, and I'll explain to you why that is. So if I go into Funnel Builder, this is our TeamRack mini site under this. We have many different pages in this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pages in this. but on the front end, you really only see this. But when someone clicks, different options open up, right? When someone clicks, this opens up in a new tab, although I think it should open in the same tab. So I can go in and change that as well. So if for some reason I don't like how this page has been configured, like this one, I can just go in and I can edit it. And I'll show you how this page, what this page looks like as well. So this is the home section that has been hyperlinked to something else, right? And again, you can see it's text that has been hyperlinked basically. There we go. So I can click here. I can see what page this is linked to. I can say, instead of opening in a new window, open this in the same window, because there's no reason home should open in a new window. And remember, this is, let me just click here and show you. This is not even a header. This is simply a block that has been drag and dropped here. So there are many, many different ways of doing this, many different ways. It's entirely up to you what you want to choose and what you want to do. Again, simple page, everything is very neatly laid out, as you can tell. And sometimes that's all you need. You don't need to make it more complicated. As with the header, footer is also just another block, and you've added text here. And more or less all the text is hyperlinked. Okay, let's save this. So the different pages within there, there's a page for homepage, for example. This is where we were. There's a pop-up for a $1 trial, and I'll show you the pop-up as well, actually, because I think it's free trial, but actually I think we can do free in this case. So in this case, on action, we open a pop-up. We don't submit a button. We don't take people to another URL. We open a pop-up. That's the thing to remember. This one goes to another page. This one goes to another page. This one goes to the blog page. All right. So that's how this page was built. Now, as I mentioned, if I wanted to configure this so that if someone clicks here, they get taken to this block, all I have to do is get the block ID for this one, copy it, and on click for, let's say, this. Let me exit this. Okay, for this, instead of this URL, I can just put in the block code, and then people will be taken to the block when they go there, when they click on that. So this is how easy it is to configure, build your own landing pages, and as well as a whole website. I mean, this is literally a complete website. I can see it's not even sitting on InstaSuite. I mean, it doesn't look like it's on InstaSuite. It's on our own domain. So when someone goes here, they don't even know it's built on InstaSuite, which is kind of good and bad both. I mean, it's good for you. It's bad for us because they don't know it's built on InstaSuite. But it still looks cool. And unlike WordPress websites, you don't need to update it all the time. You don't need to have different plugins to do different things. Everything can be done in one place. If you want to do animations, well, you can do that too. For example, and I think I'll have to change it back as soon as I show you this, because otherwise my team will kill me. So this one. Let me see if it's under formatting. Nope. It is under animation and delay. So I can do animations here as well. I can flash it, right? So if I close this for a second, save, and view, it's a different page. So when this page opens up now, you can see this is flashing, right? So I have these animations built in as well. Honestly, I saw a product that came out recently that would allow you to do, would allow you to do the same thing. And I was thinking, why? I mean, we already have that InstaSuite, which is why I didn't recommend it to you, because it didn't make sense, because you already had it. So you can do all these different things within these landing pages as well. Now, if I jump back to KV Social for a few minutes, and again, I won't go for more than the 5-10 minutes in this. Let's go into building your funnels. There are a couple of other important things that you should know. Let's go into this one. So when you sell something, at the moment, the way it functions here is that you can sell, membership platforms using you can sell membership sites using any of the payment providers. In our case, we also give you the option when you're trying to sell a membership product to sell via Stripe or PayPal, in which case we can actually track sales for you. We can track numbers and tell you how many sales you made. So what I can do is I can choose, okay, I want to track sales. This is the product that I want to track it for. If I want another product, I can do that as well. This is the goal page, so this is where people should land after they buy. These are the order URLs, and this is the buy button that I now use. And that way I can track my sales very closely. So in this case, you can see we had good conversion rate. Conversion rate was so low that it almost shows up as 0%. But this time we had an okay conversion rate, we had good revenue, and this is something that you should use as well to track your results, sales as well as leads. Okay, sales as well as leads. You can track those within InstaSuite as well. And really, I think, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to show you within Funnel Builder. I don't think so. I think a lot of this is experimental in that you log in, you test it out, you see how it works for you, you see if you like it, if you have any questions you ask, and we answer. Because there's so much different things that you can do here, it's just impossible to show you each and every aspect of it, which might be hidden as of now. But really, it just makes it so much fun. I think this is the place where a lot of people spend a lot of time because they get a ton of enjoyment just from using this. So think about that as well. But having said that, this is where I'll stop the actual demo part. If you have any questions, if you have anything you'd like me to show you, please let me know and I'd be happy to do that. I'm just going to get some water and open up the questions. All right, so I got a question. Can the emails flow into InstaSuite instead of any other autoresponder? Yes, I hope I showed you that already. And you can find those emails here under List Builder. Redirect to block URL, that's what I wanted to ask. Perfect, Annette, I hope I answered that for you. Then let's see. Hey Neil, just to clarify, when you talked about the InstaSuite autoresponder, were you referring to List Builder? Yes, I was referring to List Builder with your own SMTP. InstaSuite's SMTP is only for transactional emails. So sending logins to someone, sending access to someone for your product, that we can do. But when it comes to marketing emails, you have to have your own SMTP. And honestly, you can go for something like Spark Post. So, and again, I'm kind of going away from our discussion topic today, but you can go to Spark Post and you can get 100,000 emails for free. Okay, Simon, I intend on doing that, but really, so Simon's asking, why don't you create a separate video showing how to build a full website? I mean, how should I say this? There's nothing to it in that, except for one page now we have multiple pages and they all kind of link to each other. That's the only difference in all of this. There's no other way to do it. I mean, you know, you decide what your front page is going to be. You can draw it on a piece of paper. You decide what buttons are going to be everywhere. And then you basically just start building out the pages in InstaSuite. And once you build one, you just save it as a template and you reuse it over and over again, because then you have consistency in colors and designs. So that'd be the best way to go. But I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can do just like a video of the entire mapping to production process. Okay. Thanks for training. Are there video training modules? Yes, many. If I go into, let me think, tutorials, that opens up an entire page with tons of different tutorials that you can access. And a lot of webinar replays as well. This one will be available here within a couple of days. I think on the left-hand side, we should have a menu. Within a couple of days, this one will be available right over here. All right. Any other questions I can answer today, please let me know. I hope you found this useful, by the way. Please tell me if you did, because I would like to know that. If you didn't, then I should change something. But if you found it useful, that's a good thing. Like I said, Funnel Builder is something you're really going to have to play with, and it's fun. I think it's a lot of fun. Vargas, what is email provider with? So you use your own SMTP. We don't provide SMTP for email marketing. All right. Ben, good to have you on the call as well. And I guess if there are no other questions, then we can end the call. Tony, thank you very much for that as well. Ganga, that's great. Now I can really use my Insta products. That's awesome. You should. 100K free emails. Vargas is with the Spark Post. Let me drop that link. I actually had a call with these guys the other day. They're nice guys. They're good people. So definitely try it out. If I go into this one, I think they should state their prices soon. Oh, they don't. Not here. But again, they do have a pricing page where they show you pricing for the free plan. Oh yeah, there we go. Mm. Oh, there we go. 100,000 emails a month are free, which is pretty good. Okay. Dave, that's excellent. Yeah, if you find anything that you think is problematic for whatever reason, do get in touch. And we've got a very robust team right now. We're working through a lot of things at a very good pace. So yeah, if you find anything that is not as expected, like I did today as well, I'll give it to them and they'll review it and they'll fix it up soon. Okay. Annette, that's great. Annette says, I'm left without questions. That's nice. Dave is saying, thanks for using most of the tools now. Dave, that's good. Raj, I appreciate you being on the call as well. Okay, in a couple of weeks' time, I'll go through List Builder, and that will be a big session because List Builder is something that has improved a ton in the last couple of months or so. I mean, we really are now competing with some of the best autoresponders there. You still need your own SMTP, which I think again is, for 100,000 emails is pretty good that it's free, but we really are competing with some of the best out there now in the List Builder department, and we will be more so in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll do another session then, and we'll talk more about how to use the List Builder part of InstaSuite then. All right. So have a good rest of the day. I'll get the webinar replay out as soon as possible. Take care. Bye.